we will build simple GraphQL server where we can create query and mutations. So in query we can request data which we created using mutations, and for mutations we will give one simple function to create user. Okay, and for database we will use Sqlite, and as a server, of course, Apollo server, and other thing is we will use TypeORM to connect with the SQLite. Okay, then let's create a simple folder. Create a folder and open it in the VS Code, and you can open this terminal using new terminal. Okay, so let's initialize our project first. npm init-y. Okay, so once this is done, let's refresh. You can see package.json is appearing. Now we will install packages. So npm install TypeGraphql, then Apollo server, then reflect metadata, then TypeORM and SQLite. Okay, so let's hit enter. Till then, let's create a folder structure, right? So create a new folder called src, and under src again create new folder for entity, and second folder under src is resolvers. Okay, and under src we can create a new file index.ts, which will be our entry point for our application. Yeah, then okay, let's see if the packages are installed. We can proceed with the next step. Okay, now other development packages we need are npm install TypeScript, then ts node, which will execute TypeScript code directly without compiling, and types /node. Yeah, those three. Save dev. Okay, now this will install those packages as a dev dependency. Okay, so let's refresh this. Okay, now the next thing is we need to create a ts config. Okay, so to do that, type npx ts config .json. Okay, this will start this. If you have not installed tsconfig.json, it will show you that if you want to install, then press enter. Since I already installed, that's why it's not showing up. Yeah, after you install it, you just have to press Y, and then the second option will be same as what it is currently on my screen. Then select node, enter, and it shows that ts config is created, right? Okay, so let's close this and let's start writing our code. Yeah, so in index we will start. So first we will import reflect metadata, then import Apollo server from Apollo server. Now let me close this GitHub Copilot. It is going to cause us problem. let's go to setting, GitHub Copilot. This. Okay, let's close this and reload the window. Okay, now let's try it. Then second thing we need is build schema. From TypeGraphql. Then import data source from TypeORM. Then import user entity from /entity/user. Now this entity we will create. Okay, and second thing is user resolver. So we'll map our routes in the resolvers from /resolver/user resolver. Okay, so let's create this user entity and user resolver. So inside the entity, create new file user.ts. Okay, and in the resolvers, create new file user resolver.ts. Okay, so let's complete our entity file. So in here it's pretty simple. Basically we are describing the schema of our user table. So import entity from the TypeORM entity, and then primary generated column, this one, and then column and base entity. Okay, then import object type from TypeGraphql, then field and ID. Then we will define object type. This will be our GraphQL type. Then entity. Now export class user extends base entity. So we will create user class here, and then it will have fields of ID at the primary generated column and ID number, and the second column is name, and it will be a string. Okay, and we need we will give one more column, that will be email. Okay, so this is fine for now. So once this is done, let's go to our resolver. So for resolver, again we need to import some things from the TypeGraphql. So import resolver query mutation and arg arguments. So we will import our user entity which we just created. Yeah. You can write like this, or since it is in resolvers, we can go one step back and then dot slash. Yeah, this will also work. So we will create here resolver export class user resolver and query user. Okay, and we will write here function async users, and this will return the user's data. So user dot find. Okay, then let's create another mutation. So here it will return the user data, and we'll define function async create user, and here at the rate arguments name, we will bind it with a name string, and same thing I will copy paste for the email. Okay, now this function, okay wait, this is going to be a user, not small. So here we will define const user equal to user dot create, and we will pass name and email, and then we will await user dot save, and we will return the user so we can confirm that user is created. Okay, so that's done. So if I start my GraphQL server, I can see like there is one query. I can query the users, that will return the user data, and there is one mutation using which I can modify the database. Yeah, I can create the user. So yeah, those things are done. Now we can complete our logic in the index.main file, index.ts. So first we will need to create a data source. So const app data source equal to new data source, and here we will connect to our database. So type SQLite. See, here is the benefit of using this ORM. You can just change the database and it will work fine. Yeah. So type and then database db dot SQLite and synchronize true. So if you change in schema, it will automatically update. And then entities. So here right now we have only one, so we will pass that user entity. So let's write the remaining code. Async function main, okay, and we will call this main function adding catch block. If there is an error, we will print it. So if there is an error, console.error. Okay, so let's complete this main functionality. So we'll first call await app data source, which we created at the top, dot initialize. Okay, then const schema equal to await build schema, and here we need to pass the resolvers. So right now we have only one user resolvers. Okay, and we will create server now. Const server equal to new Apollo server, and we will pass that schema. Okay, same thing here. I would have done schema colon schema, but since key and value name are same, so that's why simple JavaScript feature, we don't need to write it twice. Okay, now once our server is created, what I can do is server dot listen, we'll start it on port 4000, and then we'll get the URL from it. Right, we are destructuring URL from the success object. Yeah. Okay, so this is again a callback function. So here we will log it to the console. So okay, so let's save this. What is this error? User resolver. See, it is user resolver, not resolvers. Okay, let's save it, and you can since our functionality all code is done, we can run this project using, so let's clear this terminal, npx ts node src slash index.ts. Okay, there is some error. The error is okay, so SQLite 3 package we forgot. So let's copy this. So let me copy this command, and we will install this package as well. Okay, that package is installed now. Let's run our server. Okay, our server is running at 4000. So let's copy this URL and visit in the browser. So here if I paste it, we should see the Apollo server default sandbox environment. Yeah, so I will click here, automatically redirect to the studio next time. Okay, and let's see what do we have here. So at root level you can see we have one query and one mutation. So if I go to query, there is users, and it will return the user model, and it has three fields: email, ID and name. And if we go back to mutations, you can create a user which will take email and name. Yeah, so our types query and mutations are fine. So let's write here so we can confirm that if it is working or not. So since our database has nothing, so if I query users, it will return me nothing. So query users and let's query like ID and name. Let me zoom in. Okay, and if I run it, I obviously get nothing because we have not created anything, right? So let's create mutation first. So mutation, and let's create mutation for create user. So if I press enter, it will automatically fill this field. Okay, first ID, and then we will give name and email. Okay, so now okay, let's remove this. Okay, we don't need this. So in create user we need to pass those fields. So name, I will pass my name Pawan, and email pawan@gmail.com. okay, so let's run this mutation. This is not a function. Yeah, so let's run this. So you can see one user is created, and I can verify it by running the query. So it returns the ID and name. So if I wanted email, I can just type here email and it will return ID, name and email. Yeah, so let's create one more user, Akash, and akash@gmail.com. So let's run it again, mutation. So it says created, ID is auto incremented to 2. So let's run this query again to get all the user. So you can see we are getting Pawan and Akash.